All right then, welcome everybody. Thank you very much for joining me today on the very first LinkedIn Live that I'm doing. It's called the Software and SaaS Lead Generation Blueprint. Very excited to present this information or this learning to you today. So just in the comments, please. Normally I do this to the people who are early, but this is a live. Just in the comments, let me know that you can hear me and you can see me. You can see my screen on this side over there, and we are good to go. All right. Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me, everybody? Let me just know in the comments that you can hear me. Just want to make sure. Great, fantastic. Okay, well, welcome everybody. Let's get started. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everybody. Perfect. Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, sound is fine. Perfect. Good day. I think there's a bit of a delay. Kiara, William, fantastic. Good to see you. All right, so let's dive into it. So this is all about the software and SaaS lead generation blueprint. First thing I wanted to, for the people who are here who haven't heard me before or don't know who I am, my name's Matthew Whyatt. I have, for the last 25 years, been selling software and technology. I started my first tech business when I was 22, grew that to about 70 people, more than $10 million a year turnover, and continued to grow from there. We sold some businesses off. I tried to retire. That didn't really take very well. I had about a year in, 10 months in Bali, and then came back, asked to help businesses with their sales team and their strategy, their go-to-market strategy. How can they sell more to the right people? And then about 4 years ago, I added in marketing to that because I just felt the marketers that my company, my customers were working with were just not really up to the task, because it's difficult to have the ability to talk about, on one day you might be talking about shoes or loyalty programs, the next day you're talking about enterprise data warehouses. So it becomes very, very challenging to have the vocabulary to manage that. So that's a bit of background for me. I only work with software and technology businesses. I only really talk about the strategy, the business strategy, sales and marketing piece. My clients, my best fit clients, are the clients that I work with best, are the ones that have a great piece of software or technology. They know how to deliver it, and they're delighting customers. And now it's time for them to put the foot down on the front end of the business to really hit the accelerator and drive those new sales, drive that new revenue into the business. So let's get into it. We usually got about an hour today in the conversation. I know it's a long live, but we'll see how we all go. Keep those comments coming in. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Emil. Thank you, everybody. If you've got questions, please use the comments box, and we'll see how this goes. As I said, this is a brand new platform for me. So let's carry on. Let me just change the view to this one. Look at that, smooth. Let's get into it. Okay. So today we're going to talk about the 4 main impact areas. Now, inside those 4 main impact areas, there's extras, or there's nuance. Obviously, I'm going to give you that nuance. I'm obviously going to provide you with greater levels of detail. If at any time you've got a question, do hit the question or the comments box on this LinkedIn Live. If you're watching on YouTube, use the comments there. I will have to switch across to YouTube comments. We'll see how we go with that. Okay, the 4 main impact areas. What we've got is the 4 impact areas. I'm just going to give them to you one at a time. Take time to think about these. So your target market seems pretty obvious. Everybody talks about that, but really clearly defining and understanding your best fit buyers to make sure that your lead generation, and this webinar is all about lead generation. I do talk about building relationships, and I do talk about creating and making offers to clients. We're not going to be focusing on that today. It's all about that front end. How do we get more leads in the business? So the target marketing, I'm going to assume you know your target, but I want you to think about not just the demographics, the who, what, when, but actually the why and the how they operate. So I want you to think about their, not only the demographics, but also their psychographics. How do they act towards you, and how do you want them to act towards you? So that's why I want you to really get deep into that niche. Now, if you've got a product that sells to multiple industries, the key there is to build hub pages, to build individual go-to-markets for each one. So you might be selling to law practices, you might be selling to hairdressers. It's not likely, but so you have a particular strategy for law, particularly strategy for hairdressers. And so that's what I want you to think about there. Don't say we help everybody do everything. That's a very, very quick short path to failure. Okay. Now, the next part, this is the part that's interesting for this conversation today. It's about your circle of influence. So obscurity is the enemy. So what you've got to do, expand your visibility by creating and distributing valuable content. It's got to be valuable. And this is the interesting thing. I want you to think about, when it comes to content, would my perfect customer want to share this with a colleague? That's the sniff test I need you to give your content in 2024. In the past, it's been fine to just talk about yourself, and that's fine. You can add that into the mix. But most of your content needs to be based around, is this adding value to my clients? Now, I've got a board internally in my business called Questions of the Answer. I really think questions are the most important thing you can ask yourself inside the business. And then also when it comes to selling, most of my sales scripts, and if anybody here has received my sales script in the past, I email that out regularly. I have nothing to hide. What you'll remember is that 99% of it is questions. It's about understanding the customer really, really well. So this is how because you also want to build your circle of influence. One of my clients uses consultants to get out there into the market. They have consulting practices. He adds his product to that consulting practice. So that's how you can build that circle of influence as well. And we'll talk about more of that as we go. Just to make sure we round this out, is building out your relationships. Obviously, you're delivering that content, you're building that relationship, and you're working. You want to make sure it's a value-driven conversation. And as I said, would this be keen to see that script? Chris, message me and I will send you the script. Happy to do that. And so, want to make sure that your content is able to be shared, like I said, with circle influence, and your offer. Craft compelling offers that solve your prospects' problems and lead them into a meaningful sales conversations. It seems really obvious when you say it out loud, but a lot of my clients are they know who they sell to. They're really great at getting known by them, and they're really great at delivering high value, really good content. They just stop to ask people to buy, ask people to engage, ask those conversations, ask to have those conversations. So that's super important. Okay, let's carry on, because I want you to remember that not everyone is your customer. If you don't know Seth Godin, look him up. Is basically considered the godfather of marketing. So do check him out. All right, so we're going to get into, I'm going to brush over the first part, which is about targeting. And then we're going to sort of expand on the lead generation part, which is sort of what you're here for anyway. Okay, this is how most people think about their target market: industry, size, and location. Yeah, we help butchers with 10 employees in the Brisbane area solve this problem, right? And so that's how they think about their market. Now, what I want you to do is go one layer deeper. I want you to think about the role that you sell into. And I was actually just speaking with a client the other day. I think I might have to produce a blog about this. It's actually about going in the side door. Actually, what I'll do is I'll bring myself up here. So there we go. So I want you to think about the side door. And it's a concept. So imagine there's a lineup of people trying to talk to your perfect target customer. Let's say you sell to, I don't know, chair manufacturers. I've got a chair there. Chair manufacturers. Well, then most of the time you go, oh, we sell to the CEO. Now there's a lineup in front of the CEO's office of sales, other salespeople trying to sell chairs, or you're trying to sell things to that manufacturer. Now, the problem is, though, that the CEO and the administration team have built up a resistance. They've got scar tissue. They don't want to talk to more salespeople. They want to have more approaches. So the problem is there that you're just going to be coming up against an insurmountable obstacle, who are you? Go away. We don't want it. And if we want it, we'll reach out to you in the future. And that's how a lot of sales attempts go. But much like a good nightclub, not that I've been to a nightclub recently, but much like a good nightclub, there's always a side door. There's a side door where the cool kids get in. There's a side door where the artists come in and out of in a nightclub. So what's the side door in your target customers? Is it project management? Is it site managers? Is it sales? Is it somebody in administration? Who can you speak with? Who can you connect with more effectively? So that's the role that you might move into. You might solve a particular problem. And what happens is you're able to identify that the person really in pain, it might not necessarily be the CEO. It might be the person who's 2 or 3 layers underneath the CEO. You can solve for their problem. You can talk to them about, as if you're one of the team. And from there, you can make your way up through the organization inside. It's easy to travel inside and come in from the outside. So think about the role. Now, the second part about role I want you to think about is you think about your customers, identify who they are, and I do that by going to Seek. Go to Monster or Seek or whatever the job platform is. Look for the businesses that are hiring, and you'll find the job description of exactly the person you sell to. You find that job description, and you'll be able to really get clear about who they are, what their role is, what their KPIs are, what they're expected to do, how they're being compensated, what their level of education is, and all of that stuff. You can actually, all in one go, see exactly the profile of your target customer. What an incredible tool that is, and it just sits out there for anybody to use. So do that. Understand the role really, really well. Now, the next part is you want to talk about the values of your target customer organizations. And the values, what do they value? Who, do yours and theirs values line up? I've had a number of clients over the course of the last 6 months who have not lined up with our values, and I've not pursued them as a customer. It's important to make sure that you and your clients see eye to eye on a whole range of things, because if you don't, then you're just going to have arguments in the future, challenges that are just not fun to be part of. So really think about the value alignment there. Make sure you're working with businesses that have a certain value set that you do as well. And the last part here is behavior. How do they behave? How do these people operate in their day-to-day? Do they talk about things positively? And those types. So we can go into that more deeply in other webinars. You can watch my other webinars if you like, about targeting, really getting clear on how to create that engagement with the customer. But today we're all about your circle of influence. The circle of influence is about, let me just bring back to that one there. I think it is. No, this one. This one. All right, great, new software. So thank you for joining me on my first bit of new software pain. So circle of influence. Circle of influence is how many people know you, who knows about you, who can advocate for you. This is your market and number of people who know you. This is about lead generation. How do we do that? The first thing I want you to think about here is, or understand, is the only reason you don't have enough sales or leads is not enough people know about you. That's it. The only reason you don't have enough sales and leads is not enough people know about you. So in the past, in the people call it about the good old days, not too sure about that, but in the old days, the only way to win here is early to bed, early to rise, work like hell and advertise. And people are still doing that today. And whilst the early to bed and early to rise might still be the key, and working hard, advertise is not the only way to get your message out, because we've got this wonderful thing, social media. There's never been a better time. There's never been more effective channels to market. There's never been cheaper to get your message out to as many people as possible. We've got quite a few people on stream today. Not sure how to check that, but we had about 107 people say they're going to be here. And so in that, we did this for free. It actually didn't cost anything to run this webinar. LinkedIn exists. Streaming services exist, maybe for the streaming software, but there's never been cheaper to get your message out there. So the two ways that work for us is posting free content like this, and guides and those types of things, and I'll go into those types of things in a moment, and running paid ads. Now, the people that you're noticing on social media at the moment, you might know who Alex Hormozi is, you might know who Gary Vaynerchuk is. Both of those people put out about 250 pieces of content every single month. Now, I'm not expecting you to do that, but you can be putting out a couple of pieces a week. You've got to be able to put stuff out there that demonstrates your knowledge, demonstrates your interest and your enthusiasm for the industry, because people want to deal with experts. So that's free content, and the distribution channels, there's lots of them. You know what industry you're in, and you know where those people are. And of course, running paid ads. If you really just want to put the foot down on the accelerator and grow, the fastest way is running paid ads. Simple as that. You can get at the top of the list. If you're doing SEO and you're not doing SEM, search engine marketing, you're missing out on a huge amount of opportunity, because your SEO is really up to the Google gods to make sure that your result is being shown. And there's lots of people out there who do SEO. but you can actually hack the whole thing, but it's paying for your ad to be there, paying for your position. So, and of course, you've got to do it well, but you've got to make sure that you're in the game. You've got to make sure you're in the game. So, only two ways that I really care about is create free content and running paid ads. When it comes to free content, the more paddles you have in the water, the faster you'll go. So what I want you to think about there is, how can I put more things into the marketplace to help more customers understand their problem better? Because often people are walking around, in their business pretty uninformed when it comes to the challenges that you actually provide, you actually solve. So we've got the more paddles. So as I said earlier in the conversation, is that questions are the answer. And the questions that I ask, and when we think about our sales funnel, our typical sales funnel is, we're unaware all the way through to making a purchasing decision. At each stage, they have a question, and it might look something like this. So so if a person's unaware, so their question might be, how do I tell if my business is operating at its full potential? They might just have a general desire to have their business operating at full potential. Then as they start to understand the problem that exists, now they're going to say, well, how much my inefficient process and working around costing me? And then as you move down the funnel, you're creating different and answering different questions. And the way you answer those are at each level also very, very important. So you might have, with the channels, organic, social, blogs, industry, forums, events, LinkedIn outreach, and listicles. A listicle is like the 6 ways you can achieve this, right? Or the five answers to X, Y, Z. Those types of things introduce a person to your idea, introduce people to your business, introduce you to them to your thought leadership. But that's not enough. That is enough at that point. But then you've got to back that up with deeper and more meaningful and more meaty information. Now, the big, I guess, the challenge that a lot of people have is the first offer that they make on their website, the first offer they make to clients is a free trial, without really establishing whether the client even has a problem. And a free trial, if it requires effort, requires integration, requires time, often will fall flat. And so what we've got to do is make sure we front end that free trial with elements of, am I operating at full potential? How much is it costing me? What solutions are available? How does my current solution stack up against the alternatives? Then they can actually start talking to you. Then they start talking about doing free trials, etc. So be very aware, if you're in SaaS and you're offering free trials, figure out where those free trials exist, because product-led growth, which is what free trials started with, product-led growth is the strategy. Product-led growth means that you need to have a process so simple that if a person signs up for a free trial, they should be getting value in the day. Think Canva, think Trello. Canva, I can go in there, put some things in, start creating a birthday card, 10 minutes. And anybody could do that. And that's immediate value. Trello, it's a Kanban board thing. You start putting some stuff in, implement a template, it's done. Less than a day to actually get some value out of that. So make sure if you're offering a free trial, it's at the right place in the funnel. Okay, so a lot of people said, well, that's all very well and good. How do I, what can I do? I mean, we've got all these things. Are they, which are better than others? How do I do this? Now, to grow your circle of influence, there's only 3 ways. One-to-one, one-to-many, and referrals and word of mouth. So one-to-one, obviously networking, that's pretty important to do. LinkedIn outreach, you go through those things. Well, you can read this or screenshot it. I can send you the recording later. I mean, the idea is just to provide you with the highest amount of value possible without going through each one and reading it all to you. One-to-many, hang on, a lot of growth of inactive demos as well as landing pages. Yes. Is there a question there, Chris? So, interactive demos. Sorry, I misread that. Okay, yes. The interactive demos, things like guide, pieces of software that help people through that are really, really valuable to create that level of engagement. That's excellent. Good thinking. So one-to-many, let the algorithm do the work for you. If you just want to get in front of people, and the fastest way to do that is to pay. Pay to play. Facebook and those types of platforms make their billions of dollars from advertising. They want to make sure it's a great experience for you as the advertiser, and they still have the other side, which is a great experience for the customer, for the viewer, the casual Facebook scroller. Too many ads, people drop off. Too few ads, they don't make enough money. So to continue to always find that balance. And so that's really important that you engage with that algorithm, you engage with experts who really understand how those platforms work, because each platform has its own little nuances there. And of course, referrals and word of mouth, very important. If you're selling through contractors or selling through consultants, that's a great way to go. And there's lots of ways you can do that. There's unlimited number of ways to get out in front of your target customer. The challenge is that a lot of people do a lot poorly. I would prefer that you would do a few very well. Just do a couple of things very well. You put your time, energy, and effort into those buckets, and you work them. And in doing that, you'll see the results. And the thing is, if you do concentrate on it, you'll be able to start making some edits and tweaks and modifications along the way, because that optimization part, which I'll talk about later in the webinar, that optimization part is actually where the hard work exists. You think creating content is difficult? Well, it's not. I mean, with ChatGPT and communicating with clients and the availability of what's out there in the world, it's actually the optimization and distribution is really the real key to getting your message out there. Okay, we'll carry on. So you've got all these options, you know the funnel, but how do you actually, with that funnel piece, we've written those questions, but what's in mind there? Then what's in mind is knowing your customers' problems really well. Know your buyer and their problems. What are they dealing with on a day-to-day basis? And if you've been in business for a long time and you need some help in that area, what I would suggest very strongly is call a couple of clients. Call clients and go, hi, just so I can understand, what are the 2 or 3 reasons you decided to go with us instead of somebody else? So powerful, that conversation, right? That's a really powerful question, because if you do that well, if you ask that question well, you'll find yourself in a position where the client is engaged, is thoughtful, and actually you'll bring back to the top of their mind, even if they're existing, especially as they are an existing client. They'll see that as a customer service, customer happiness call. There's no downside to calling your existing clients, asking why they bought from you. Even people who bought from you 5 years ago, you ask them, what problems were you going through at the time before you bought from us? How often did that happen? How much did that cost you? And that is a story. That's a third-party story that you can pick up in your sales conversations, pick up in your content, and communicate that back out to the market. Really powerful. So what do? Here's the blueprint. Here's the start of the blueprint here. Let me just click on here. There we go. Cool. Step 1, high impact, relevant content. First thing you need to do is develop high impact, relevant content. Is my connection out? I hope not. That would be very annoying. Let me make sure that I'll just do this. I'm just going to cut across to fine for me. Oh, okay, good. It might have been just you, David. There you go. Okay, what I might do is, okay, good. All right, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. The benefits and the joys of live streaming, right? So high impact, relevant content. High impact, relevant content means develop foundational content that speaks directly to your best fit buyers' pain points. This content will fuel all the other lead generation strategies. This is your seminal work. This is stuff that you need to be going out there and doing. You need to be making sure that you are developing, you're putting a flag in the sand. You're making a point. Like, this is what I stand for. And then from there, you build lead magnets, offer something that's irresistible to your clients. For example, if you go to my website, you can for free download a guide of doubling your marketing ROI. So if you go to my website, you'll see on my website, there's the headline is, we help software and technology companies sell more to the right people. Pretty obvious who we're selling to. And then we solve that problem. Double your marketing ROI document. Download that. It's free. The reason we do that, oh, by the way, and that high impact relevant content is our baseline information, which is called the Australian Technology Marketing Blueprint. So we really, that's like 50 pages, like how we think here at TechTorque. So you don't need to do that. We do it because we're in marketing, and I like to make sure that we're thoughtful about these things. But we've got to deliver these pieces of content that actually solve a client's problem. A client should be able to read through that document and go, oh, that's a good idea. I'll go do that. And in doing that, that helps. And the last part is distribution. Now you can put it out there on social media. You can make a post. You can run a webinar, do whatever you like. But then if you really want to get it into as many hands as possible, use the algorithm. You do paid advertising. Don't need to. You could ask other people to distribute it for you. I've asked, that's why there's 100 or so people who said they're going to come along to this. I asked some friends, so, hey, can you reshare this? All that type of stuff. So distribution of content is important. It's not much point setting up the greatest piece of content in history and then not telling anybody about it or how they get it. So that's important. Okay. Let me give you an example of a sales funnel that will make you money. Okay, so here we go. And I've got paid at the top, and I'll reduce my face here because you don't need to see me as much as you need to see this. Okay, there you go. Actually, I might even do this. There you go. So here is an example of a sales funnel that maps out exactly how you're going to get from one place to the next. You've got paid at the top, so you might do social media, search ads, right? So the future of XYZ trends and predictions for 2025. Okay, I'm just making these names up. Obviously, you're going to do your own, build your own version. And of course, LinkedIn outreach, post that shares the blogs and the 5 signs your business might be outgrowing. Anyway, so you've got paid and free. Those two pieces of content can also be, well, it can be the same. You might just post it free, but you can also pay for it to be boosted. Yes, you can get a copy of the slides, Regan. Just message me on DMs, please. I don't know what happens to these conversations after this live stream goes away. So you definitely can get a copy of these slides. Anybody else who wants a copy of the slides, actually just put in the comments here, copy, and I'll make sure that we can find that as well. So just put copy in the comments, and I'll make sure somebody gets you those for you. Right. Stage 2, understanding the problem. So then the lead magnet, webinar, or blogs, and then that goes and signs up for webinar. Then they go into nurture email sequence, considering options being sales enablement. So a salesperson gets involved. As time goes on, over the years, the salesperson gets involved later and later. When I first started selling, I won't say what year, when I first started selling, salesperson got involved very, very early because the availability of information was very, very low. What we want to now have is the availability of information is very, very high. So therefore, it is much later in the process. Genuinely, people are expecting a minimum of 11 pieces of content. Often it's 7 hours of content in the market. And you better be able to communicate with them about 15 times throughout the process and journey of them buying. It's a lot. It's a hell of a lot. But people just expect it. Think about the last time you bought something, like a real purchase, not a $50 or $100 purchase, but a real purchase. You've made a decision. Actually, this week I looked at a new piece of marketing tech. I put that out to my internal team. I also sent it to one or two of my existing clients. Said, what do you think of this? Do you like it? Would this be something you would use? And so I wanted to get a group decision. It's like $100. So people, myself included, are expecting higher and higher levels of evidence in the market prior to making a purchase decision. That's when the salespeople get involved after that. Okay, so all of this is good. You have free and paid. Is Matthew just selling paid or just selling free? Well, both work. I'll give you an example of how both can work. There we go. So free content, the top one here. This is me working with Sean over at Nexusoft, a really interesting product. And essentially, they hadn't made a lot of sales in the last couple of years. They've been working with existing clients, really building their product, doing an amazing job there. We built out a piece of content that was a case study. We have a specific style of case study that solves particular problems. We really speak in the client's language. Let me bring myself back into the mix here. There we go. We have a very specific style of doing case studies, and we then distributed that for free on LinkedIn direct messaging. And we wrote the message, obviously very, very clearly, very, very narrowly for a particular market. We sent these individually, didn't use a bot because bots, I don't know, there seems to be more of more attention is spent when the message is sent individually. Just seems to be the way. So then what we did is we sent that out. We engaged with those people. We moved from once again, we went in through the side door. We spoke with the CFO, and the CFO put us on to the CEO. Within the month, within the 3 months, we'd actually secured about $2 million worth of new business for that, for Sean at Nexusoft. And they've got an incredibly complex product. They solve everything for everybody. And so it was undifferentiated from a view, but once you start getting close and you start working with individual industries, it solves incredible problems. And I'm sure there's people online right here today who are in exactly that same situation, is that they are they're solving really complex problems in a very nuanced way. You've got to be able to speak the right language to the right people at the right time to make that sale. Okay, so then paid advertising. Paid advertising is all about the data, right? So 163 leads generated in about 6 weeks, 6 high intent customers, SQL sales qualified leaders 21, and I like putting I like finding ways where we've been able to do better than the previous agency or the internal capability, because we're just, that's our whole job. Our only job is to well, we've got team members who their only job is to make their paid advertising absolutely tweaked perfectly. So we, so far outperform past performance campaigns with CPL, cost per lead, 23 to 40 times lower. So the conversion rate's about 20%, very cost efficient, cost per acquisition of $4 to $11 per lead. So that's really, that's pretty impressive. But you've got your content, you've done your paid advertising, great. Let's move on to the next phase of your blueprint. The next phase of your blueprint is, here we go, amplification and optimization. And I've already spoken about this just a little bit. And the amplification part is retargeting website visitors. You're going to drive traffic to your website, whether they are through your copy, through your free or paid advertising, through your cold email outreach, through any activity that you do, whatever it is. You might find yourself in a situation where you are getting more website visitors and they're the right type of people. We want to retarget those people. But also, we want to make sure that there's a huge amount of the people that get there. We want to make sure that we capture their attention. And so I've put special mention chatbots. There's one company I'm working with at the moment. The chatbot is so powerful, where they've actually been able to grab people's attention and communicate with them. This is actually a real live chatbot, real live human speaking to them. If you want to know about the chatbots, let me know. And what they do is, I think they charge not for the chatbot, but they charge per lead that they generate from the chatbot. So it's like free until you get leads from the traffic that comes into your website. So hit me up on that as well. It's pretty important to know the best technology, because you've spent all your money and energy and effort. You've written the great content. They're on your website. They've done a bit of a scroll and they're out. All right. So you want to make sure you capture their attention. Next part is SEO and SEM. Obviously, search engine optimization is important. Making sure the content is written within the confines of how you want to be perceived in the marketplace. Because remember, you're not for everybody. You're for a certain number of people. And thank you, David, for backing me up on the chatbots. And we've got SEO being, obviously, SEO is important, and SEM, search engine marketing. If you just want to hack the system, you just want to get your name on the lights, you can actually do. You can actually put yourself to the top there. So yeah, please do make sure that you are. If you want to message me about the chatbots, put chatbot in the comments, and we'll find those. Make sure you get some information about that as well. The next part is expanding your reach by leveraging your trusted voices and participating in relevant communities and engaging consultants and resellers. That's a long way of saying get out there. One of my clients, I think I saw him comment earlier, is one of their path to markets is using consultants. You got to make sure those consultants are treated like gold. They're people are going to walk your business in because they've already got the side door. They already know who the customer is. That is the ultimate side door. That's the bouncer knowing who you are. So you get in there and you're able to. So you want to make sure that if you are going to use consultant route, you want to motivate and inspire them. Work with those, work with them, and we can make sure that those I guess advocates are really loving us. Because the consultants that are already in companies, look, this is not going to be you're not going to be the only one asking the question, knocking on the door. So you're going to find a way to really engage with those consultants, run that dinner, run that lunch, have that conversation, provide them with tools, tips, tricks, ways of getting the information into the marketplace, whatever it might be. Okay, so expand your reach. network partners, very, very important. I've got network partners of my own, and it's really important. So track, measure, optimize. Well, this is the grindy part. This is the part that some very clever technical people can get hold of. They just get in, continuously analyze performance, look at what's happening, refine it, send it out there. Like when we're managing Facebook ads or any ads for any client, we're literally in there every single week looking at it, tweaking and playing to make sure we might run so we run tests, and inside those tests we have hypotheses, and inside that hypothesis we may go, well, here is 4 different types of ads that might work, or offers that might work, and the algorithm will obviously show all of them, and then start identifying the ones that are more interesting and attractive to your market. And then you want to say, okay, well, these ones worked. We're going to kill off the ones that didn't work. We're going to find variations of this one. And it's constant work, but that is how you're able to generate really, really high value leads at a really low cost. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that is the blueprint. Let's bring it all together now. Okay, so remember, we've got the 4 key areas. Now we need to be thinking about how can we do something in each one of these areas every single month. Now I know I've spoken mainly about your circle of influence today, mainly about that area. But remember, your target market is not your highest paying customer. It's the one that you like working with the most. Your circle of influence, obscurity is the enemy. Your relationships, valuable content that people might share with their colleagues. And your offer, you've got to ask people to engage with you. And by asking people to engage with you, everybody goes, okay, well, these are the people I need to talk to, and reduces the number of people who aren't interested and that you have to talk to. Because nobody likes, doesn't matter, even if I've been a telephone salesperson since I was, well, for a long time, since I was 22, but I never wanted to make a cold call. I don't want to do that. I'm sure you don't either. Well, maybe you do. Maybe you like that sort of stuff, but I don't like making cold calls. So I'd rather only speak to the people who are engaged with me. Okay, so this is breaking. The next slide is going to break every single rule in the slide rule book, if there is one, because it's got too much information, too much going on, too many colors. But I wanted to bring all of it, the whole thing, in one page. So if anybody just said, right, I'm just going to screenshot this, and here's the blueprint that Matthew's talking about, this is it. But a few of you have already asked about the copy of the slides. So make sure, if you've come late to this, if you want a copy of all my slides today, just put copy in the comments, or send me a copy or whatever it is, and I'll make sure that we go through those comments and we make sure everybody gets that. So here they are. So 1, your target market, clearly define and understand your best fit buyers. High impact content, develop content that directly addresses your buyer's pain. This is your foundation. Then build lead magnets from that. Put those lead magnets out there. Demonstrate your capability. Then you've built that. Now it's time to distribute it. Organic and paid, obviously the way to go. Partners can also do that distribution for you, but you've got to make sure you've got to get it out there. Not much point building it if nobody's going to buy it or nobody's going to see it. Retargeting. People have been driven to your website, driven to your page. Make sure you've got the pixels activated, all that technical stuff that we can help you with, obviously. Make sure it's all there ready to go. And then you are retargeting those people, following those people around the internet, making sure that those people are I haven't seen, I looked at Abstract the other day, and look, I'm seeing Abstract over here in this industry magazine or whatever it might be. So you're going to make sure that your message is being reinforced over and over. I said Abstract because I can see the O'Learys here. And also build your so SEO and SEM, spoken about that. Build your network. Think about who is selling. Oh, there's one thing. Who is currently selling to your clients that's not competitive? Okay. I mentioned the chatbot guy. We're not competing, but I'm happy to refer his work to everybody who's asked about the chatbots. I'm not competitive. He recommends me to his clients. I recommend my clients to him. Everybody wins. And so that's part of my network. I've got other people who are investors. I've got other people who I speak with who are across a whole range of areas. And then I do a good job, and then they recommended me to the next person. So think about your network, really important, and optimization. It's the tweaking, the turning of the dials. So I do have some extra time now. If there's any questions, obviously I'm keeping an eye on the comments box here. If not, I can move on. I know you've been asking questions and going through it as we go. I will bring it up to this one like that. All right. I know how to use the software now. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being part of this webinar. Really appreciate it. Now, the bonus I'd like to offer you is if you have enjoyed the conversation today, what I'd like to do is help you find your path of least resistance. What is your blueprint? How do we implement that blueprint into your organization? I'm happy to do a 45-minute Focus Finder workshop, have a look at your existing structure, what your challenges might be, all of that type of stuff. So if in the comments, just ask for, just say Focus Finder. So let's use Focus Finder. If you've jump in the comments, if you want to have a conversation with me, put in Focus Finder, and I'm sure that my team will reach out to you and organize a time for us to get together. So there's 3 things you can do today. You can get a copy of the slides, which of course includes that blueprint. You can ask for the chatbots. And of course, anybody wants to DM me if you don't feel comfortable with just saying, hey, Focus Finder in the comments, just DM me or direct message me through LinkedIn, and we can talk then. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being part of this experiment. Hey, I've got Focus Finder here it says LinkedIn user. So I don't know. So if you could just message me directly, you haven't shared your name on the live, which is okay. Do message me directly. I've got a few people now. That's great. Thanks, Carolyn, Chris, Meditha, I think. I think we've already got conversations happening, Meditha, happening soon. Anyway, thank you so much for your time, everybody. If you have any questions, please drop them in there. Thank you, Julia. Thanks, Alexius. I really appreciate you being part of this experiment, which was going live. Also, I was live on YouTube. I don't know if anybody saw me on YouTube either, but we'll see how it all goes. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you. Bye for now.